Salutations everyone, and welcome to another episode of Brainy Reviews. I'm your host, BrainBoy20, and in this episode we'll review the game Asteroid Bounty Hunter by Just1337 Studios, who are noted for their previous game, Shiplord, a game designed quite similarly to this but with a different goal in mind, one where you would dodge around asteroids in an attempt to collect Quasar, the resource that counted towards score in the game. Now, before we get into Asteroid Bounty Hunter's description, we'll take a quick look at the options menu first. For the options menu, it has fully rebindable controls, and if anyone has played Shiplord as of the time of this review, you'll know that the controls look very similar to that, in that they are, but as usual they're still fully rebindable and contain joystick support. For video settings, unlike the previous video, I am able to completely readjust the screen resolution to whatever, so they've at least fixed that issue. Graphics are still limited to the 6 previous presets, and they have full screen and planetary and environments options to enable or disable at your will. They also have music volume and effects volume that are able to be independently controlled and sent around. Now, Asteroid Bounty Hunter is a shoot-'em-up style game, and I will show you that by playing through this level on the easy difficulty that I've already completed. Now, the core gameplay of Asteroid Bounty Hunter is, this is your ship. It moves around, it has slightly floaty controls, like a bit of acceleration and deceleration. Now you have your primary gun ability here, which can fire 3 shots on screen at once, which leads to a few risky rewards elements. As your shots connect and disappear, you'll get the ability to immediately fire those shots again right afterwards. So you want to be as close as possible to your opponent to fire off as many shots as possible, in order to maximize the amount of damage you're dealing per second, like so. Whereas far in the back, you see that my shots pretty much go to waste, and I ended up taking a hit there because of that. You also have access to a little fire sphere, which deals a fair amount of damage and goes in a spiraling pattern away from your ship. And you also possess a beam attack, which deals continuous damage over time to whatever it hits, and does not pierce through. Finally, you have your ultimate ability, which summons a fiery phoenix that goes to the center of the screen. And once this fiery phoenix hits the center of the screen, it will open up a rift in space and time, launching a radial projection of missiles to hit everything on screen at once that it can. And those are your 4 main abilities. The point of this game is to time those abilities properly, stay as close as possible to your opponent, in order to deal as much damage as quickly as possible, in order to destroy as many asteroids as possible, blow up as many opposing bounty hunters as you can, and generally cause a ton of mayhem in your attempts to collect experience and mastery points in order to level up your ship to take on future levels. Now, the game only moves as fast as you do. And by that I mean, the faster you destroy asteroids, the more likely it is you are to encounter enemy bounty hunters, and the more likely it is more asteroids will appear. In that you will get through the level much faster, but you won't gain a ton of experience that way, as the game has a hidden system in the background running called the asteroid level, which will level up at set times as you progress through the stage. And the longer you wait without destroying tons of asteroids, the higher level will go. Actually, no, that's a bit misleading. The longer you exist in a stage, irrespective of destroying asteroids or not, the more health and consequently the more damage they'll do to your ship if they connect. As I'm going to tank a few shots here, the larger the asteroid and the more health it possesses, the more damage it will do to your ship on contact.
You old weasel, always pulling through. Your luck will run out sometimes.
Anyway, that was the voice acting of the game and our ship Karma. Now, all those talk of experience points, mastery points that you saw me collect from the bounty hunter ships that I blew up in the middle of those levels, all these go up to these upgrades. These upgrades improve your damage, cooldown, and shield bonus as time goes on, or at least as you acquire them. Furthermore, If we look at the main options menu, you have a secondary set of upgrades that can boost the base damage, shield regeneration, amount of shield you actually have, and the damage of your 3 primary abilities. Now, you heard some voice acting there, and that actually is a product of the story that the game has. A story which I find quite humorous early on, as you are introduced to the main character, who is a usually drunk asteroid bounty hunter, who has nothing else but his ship Karma, as you fly through the galaxy taking on certain bounty quests in order to protect other planets from asteroids that are about to impact them, and get assaulted by the main bounty hunter's old friends, which take the form of these bosses that wish to collect a bounty on his head, caused by naturally destroying those bosses in the first place. Now, most of this plot is pretty much an excuse for having these bosses in the first place, but that doesn't really matter as much, as in most shoot-'em-ups, the story doesn't matter as much as the core gameplay itself, and the core gameplay is actually fairly solid. In Shiplord, you have the problem of slightly floaty controls and being a one-hit point wonder. The floaty controls in this one are easily justified with a very, very strong shield that can take multiple hits for you. And as you saw, I was playing on the easy difficulty. Harder difficulties, you become closer and closer to the one-hit point wonder before. But if you're playing on hard difficulty, you know full well what you're getting into. And as for the voice acting, it's good sometimes, as you heard in Maddie's previous example. There's a few issues here and there with grammar and otherwise, but that can be excused as this company is based out of Croatia, and they're a fairly small company, so take what you will. And in my honest opinion, Asteroid Bounty Hunter is a nice improvement on the previous game, Shiplord. And currently the game is going for about $4, which is well worth the price, but they are asking, if you buy it at any other time, $8 for it. Which, at that point, I would say, if you truly like shoot-'em-ups, this is a game for you. And with that comment, I will leave it there. Hope you've all enjoyed this episode of Brainy Reviews. I've been your host, BrainBoy20, and I am signing off. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like, comment, or subscribe, for it helps out a great deal, and I hope to see you all next time. Farewell. And before I forget, we actually have an entire soundtrack of many different types of electronica music that you can sift through either random or by moving through it through the 1, 2, or 3 keys, which are the default keys. 3 being random, 1 being the previous song, 2 being the next song in their list. You can also set up your own soundtrack from within the game files. I personally do not know how to do that, but supposedly it's editing a .ogg file in there or something similar. Doesn't matter as much. If you want to put in your soundtrack, you'll do it anyway.